In this world of disconnection, community is rebellion. You have talent and you have vision, but what is it you are missing in your life as an artist? Connection. Art needs solitude, but the artist needs connection. Hello, everybody. If you don't yet know me, my name is Jesse. This is Art and Void. This is a space to elevate artists' mind, body, and spirit. And before I get into the rest of this message about connection and community, now is a really great opportunity to jump into the Art and Void school community. There are multiple courses, the spiritual path to artistic freedom. There are meditations in there, and we do weekly group calls along with a bunch of other really amazing stuff. The energy has been awesome so far. And if you want to get in the early stages, check it out. You can try it out for 7 days and it'll cost you nothing. See if it's the right fit for you. Otherwise, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and let's just jump into this because I am an introvert. I make art in solitude. In fact, I cannot really write a song or a script around other people. I feel like they're getting in my way. I get annoyed by their presence because I'm really in this deeply sensitive space that I'm navigating that I have to go into in order to create my best work. Now, this doesn't mean that I haven't obviously played shows with people. I don't bounce ideas off of other musicians or writers or actors or whatever it might be, the situation may be. There's always collaboration. I get that there's such a need to separate ourselves from a lot of the noise and the distractions so that we can really plunge into the quality and the voice of our work. So I am by nature an introvert, and I get that my art is born from these deepest spaces of my self-exploration. However, I would be depressed and miserable if I just stayed there. And it wasn't until I got really serious about cultivating healthy connection in my community, in my life. And when I did that a few years ago, not only did I just see my own personal health improve, but my art grow in profound ways. And my entire life was elevated. So you often hear me share messages on this channel about how you need to take time to separate yourself from the noise of the world and dive deep into your solitude of creating great art, to tune into that true voice that's coming into you and to express it. But I also very much care about how we artists live. And I've seen it too much. The dark, moody, misunderstood artist fall into deep spells of depression, anxiety, and at the worst of times, even ending their lives. And I mean, this is my MO. I grew up as the 90s goth rivet head, and all of my own art has a certain quality from film to music to my photography, my writing. It has a darkness to it, and I'm okay with that. That's my wheelhouse. But we need to understand that creating art in that authentic space does not mean we have to live in that isolation. Don't have to keep telling ourselves that we're just misunderstood and nobody gets me. You can be introverted, but you cannot be isolated. In my lifelong struggle with depression, the most astonishing change happened in my spiritual or mental illness, whatever you want to call it. And is how I found the remedy. The cure was not in prescription pills, and it wasn't even in getting more exercises, although that really helps. Healing came through real connection and in community. And this is not the same kind of community where you just hang out with your friends and complain about the same things over and over, or gossip about Tammy and George. A lot of communities, even faith-based communities in different religious places, while they have very good intentions, they actually lack a lot of the skills and intentionality of how to cultivate genuine connection. Connections can be instant, but relationships are cultivated. Friendship is the greatest of worldly goods. Certainly to me, it is the chief happiness of life. If I had to give a piece of advice to a young man about a place to live, I think I should say, sacrifice almost everything to live where you can be near your friends. C.S. Lewis. And it is really valuable to have connections and relationships wherever you live. have those in-person happenings going on, but you can actually cultivate really incredible community in the online space as long as the intention is there. And the principle of that quote is very true, but you don't have to move just yet. You may need to just move some priority and some time. So in this world where everything is so shallow and attention spans can't seem to go more than 1.5 seconds, the moment we step into community with depth, we start to heal the wounds of our spirit. Many of us are suffering from depression, lack of energy, lack of focus. We feel the sickness of separateness and everything that is exacerbating that distance. And if the artist doesn't reject this part of our culture and lead themselves first into the new garden, then what hope is there that our art will actually bring healing and connection to others? In this world of disconnection, community is rebellion. Be a freak, be a misfit, be a visionary. That's who we are as artists. But with that uniqueness can sometimes that same attitude that I was talking about, that, people don't get me, I'm just misunderstood. And that creates your separateness. And even in my most opaque, kind of mysterious moments, just by showing up consistently in my community, did people see through that bullshit when I was distancing myself, trying to hide in a lot of ways. But instead, people saw through that and they could see my true heart. And that's the magic of what can happen by just being in an intentional community where people are all committed to growth and connection. And there were times where, people would see value in me and bring me up, call me forward. There are other times where I could see someone else needed me. And I stepped into that space of feeling my own value just because I was being a support for someone who I cared for, who I admired. And this is the reason why I created the Art and Void community space, which you can try again today. There's a link below. But don't fool yourself into thinking that things like Reddit, Discord, or social media are connection. It's in fact the opposite. It's the mask. The more we wear this mask, the less we are able to genuinely connect, to be seen, to be appreciated, be around other inspiring artists who are all following their calling to make art that is this beautiful offering that we have to the world. And here are just a few other reasons why stepping into a community with other artists will actually elevate you as a person and your art. You get the emotional nourishment. Connecting with others provides you support, helping you in this journey that you're on. Collaboration, sharing ideas, sparking new ones from peers usually fosters innovation and introduces new techniques, new strategies, and perspectives. Validation. And sometimes in this modern world, we say, don't look for external validation. And that's true. Our truest validation will always come from within and from God. But we are also evolutionary biological beings that have gotten to this point by looking at others and seeing what we're doing, and we respond to that. That is a form of validation that is so important, that you make this thing and someone says, wow, that is beautiful. Sorry, that's called validation, and that is valuable. We don't need to shit on that. We don't need to shame that, because this is just how we operate as human beings. You will receive that kind of precious and important quality validation and lift you up. And just as a person, no, this is part of my own journey. I was writing songs on guitar, and I just didn't think I would share them with anybody. But then a few friends asked me to share them with them, and I did. And they were like, Jesse, this is amazing. You need to put this out. And so that opened up a whole new path of passion and integration and love of something new that I get to do with my artistry that before I was hiding away. You get feedback loop. This is just constructive criticism, critique, encouragement of how to improve the quality of your art if you want to do that. In many ways, our art is a cry for others to see us. We give birth to this beautiful thing that is in our heart and soul, and sometimes the world just doesn't seem to give a shit. But the heart of that is this wanting to share this deepest truth of our being, to be seen as we are and appreciated for the gift that we are giving this world in our art. We want to grow. We want to create something that means something. Even the most introverted of us, we're still humans. And in many ways, we artists are more human than most in these strange species because we feel our feelings so deeply. And then we translate that into something new that we put out into the world. And it can crush us sometimes when we do that. And it just seems like no one's there, no one cares. But this community, your community, is there for you in those times. And it's also for you in the victories and the wins, because we've seen you in this whole process. And we've been with you. So tell me, how is your community going? Have you found your tribe? If you're still looking for one and you're willing to take the next step in your life as an artist, hop onto the next call in the Art and Void community. You can try it out, everything there is, all the courses, all the meditations, all the group calls. You can try it out at no cost, no risk. But whether or not this is the right space for you, we'll see. But whether or not, what's most important is that you realize that community is the medicine that your soul needs. Artists lead the world in a spiritual sense. We speak the unseen and unspoken language of the soul. This world that is so hyper-focused on hyper-individualism, isolation, and shallow relationships based on what can simply just grab your attention for the next half a second. This is actually creating more pain and more dissonance. Artists are the ones who act in defiance of the status quo for the sake of connecting us together in a greater spirit of love. Have you found your tribe?